Today we're talking about the DC10, not the airplane, the new drift car from Team Associated, who's the most winningest brand in RC racing, but not in drift. This is a whole new platform for them, but it's a pretty impressive platform. It is a kit that needs to be built with all the components added separately, and it costs about $300. Now, the last drift car we looked at was the Yokomo RD 2.0, and that's about a $210 drift kit that's aimed at beginners to get into drifting, and it was a really nice kit. But the DC10 does have some advantages over it, mainly the materials used to build it, with things like all carbon fiber and aluminum shocks, where on the Yokomo, they're going to be plastic. Now, perhaps the materials don't matter at all, because what does matter is its performance and how well it drives on the track, which we will get to in a bit. Now, for some of the features on the DC10, it's gonna come with a 2.5mm thick lower carbon chassis, and then it's got a carbon fiber upper deck too, and there's actually two included, and I'll tell you why in a minute. We're also gonna have carbon fiber shock towers on the front and rear. We've got a 3-gear transmission in the back, and that also comes with a height adjustment, so you can raise and lower that transmission depending on your needs. That transmission also allows for a low or high motor position, like is really common with most drifters now, depending on if it's a low or high traction track. And that's the reason why there's 2 upper decks. So you use one upper deck in the low motor position, and then there's a separate upper deck when you put the motor up high. It's a little bit more work for configuring the motor up high than some cars, but at least you can do it. The battery position is also adjustable in this car, but it's going to be dependent on the motor position. So when the motor is down low, the battery sits more forward, but when you put the motor up high, the battery has space to move all the way back. The battery hatch is also pretty cool with these little latches that just rotate up and rotate down with some friction. The ESC is also placed all the way back on its own little plate back there. That's how it comes stock out of the box. And then the servo is also placed more further back in this chassis, trying to shift weight as far back as we can. And we will check the weight bias of this car in a minute. The shocks are all aluminum. They're aluminum top cap, an aluminum lower cap, an aluminum spring threaded collar, and even the spring perch on the bottom is aluminum. They are really nice shocks. We also have adjustable turnbuckles on this car as standard, and they are notched too, so you know their thread direction. The car also comes with a gear differential, so you can adjust its viscosity using different fluids, although the kit setup just includes grease, and that's how we've built it here. We've actually built the entire car box stock. There is also an optional lock spool that you can put into that diff if you want to completely lock it up. And then we also have things like a fully adjustable steering. The steering Ackerman plate is actually all blue anodized aluminum. We have CVAs in the back. We've got 12mm hexes, so any drift wheel should bolt right on here. And of course, the kit is using ball bearings and hex hardware. Now, big thanks to the guys at our retail store. They actually put this kit together and spec'd it out with all the components. So what they've added for the servo, it's gonna be the Yokomo SP03D V2. For the gyro, it's also Yokomo. It's the DP302 V4 in red anodize. For the battery, it's a ProTech Shorty. It's the 6400 milliamp hour. The battery is going to be a Hobbywing X-Run D10, I believe. It's a 10.5 turn drift brushless motor. And then the ESC is the XD10 from Hobbywing. It is a drift specific ESC, and we've got that in the red anodize. And then on that ESC is the Velocity Stack from Team Brood. It's aluminum and red anodized also. Now for the body, the guys added the Killer Body Zent Tsurumo Lexus race body from Killer Body. It comes pre-painted and assembled with all the little details, and it looks pretty dang good. Now to attach that body on there, we've added the Scale Reflex magnetic body mount system, but a few things had to happen to make that work. For one, the front body posts that come with the DC10 were a little bit too thick, so these are the Apex 2 front body posts, allowing the magnets to slide right on. And then in the rear end, these aluminum posts from Scale Reflex were a little bit too long for the clearance on the body, so they've been cut off in the back to prevent them from rubbing. And once that's done, it fits right on there, no problem. Now, if the motor position was up high, there may be some clearance issues and the body may need to be trimmed out like we did with the Yokomo. For the wheels, they're the top line FX multi-spoke drift wheels in black, and then the tires are the DS Racing LF3 Competition 3 slick drift tires. And I've never used these tires before, so it'll be interesting to see how well they work. Now, previously in the Yokomo video, we weighed the RMX 2.5 and then the Yokomo, and the RMX was 1,078 grams overall with a 63% rear weight bias. And then the RD 2.0 was 1,000 grams overall with a 69% rear weight bias. And then with the DC10, it's about 1,066 grams overall and also a 63% weight bias to the rear. I bet if we turn the motor up high, positioning that weight a little bit further back, it would increase our rear weight bias. So we're out at the track and they changed out the carpet track to an on-road layout, but we're not going on there. We're gonna drive on the drift track, and this is not the first time this car's been driven. The retail store's driven it a bunch, so let's do it.
Welcome to Noble Plus.
I can hear the tire rubbing the body just a little bit. It shouldn't be a problem, it's just annoying me. The car feels really smooth. Surprisingly, even with the motor down, I mean, it holds really big drift angles, yet you can still kind of save it and recover it from spinning out. I spun out there once, but for the most part, letting off the gas kind of helps recover it. It feels pretty easy to drive. I haven't needed a whole lot of practice in order to feel like I'm doing pretty decent. Let's go the other way around the track.
Yes, sir.
So going the opposite way on the track, there's a whole lot more left turns. It seems to want to hook just a little bit more turning left than turning right, which could be for a number of reasons, but it does feel pretty dang good. These tires are really impressive too. It'd be interesting to compare them with the Yokomo, but we don't have the Yokomo tires. We had to give that car up for a trade show, so we only had it for a couple hours yesterday, but it drives pretty dang nice. So all in all, the car is pretty dang smooth out there, and it feels really controllable too. Pretty impressive for the box stock setup, and I think there's a lot of room for improvement, and I'm impressed with these tires. And yeah, it's a pretty impressive car. So guys, go check out the DC10 and everything else that we use for this car with our links down below. I'm Brett from AMain Hobbies, and thanks for watching.